little one was on complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu. Tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
The third edition of the Bombay Business Summit is here, starting at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every Friday from the 15th of November. Join us via Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube as we discuss topics like surviving and thriving through the pandemic, investing in real estate, trade and investment opportunities in Uganda, alternative dispute resolution, business formalization, and inclusive resource mobilization for Uganda's economic independence. Don't miss out.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
The Taxpayers Appreciation Season is here! We recognize, celebrate, and award Uganda's top taxpayers. Be part of the online Bombay Business Summits and stand a chance to win smartphones, gift sets, hampers, and loads more. Visit our social media pages to find out more.
We appreciate you for paying your taxes. We're proud to be Ugandan. We celebrate you. Oh, we celebrate you. Taxpayers of Uganda. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu. Tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA a visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
The third edition of the Bombay Business Summit is here, starting at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every Friday from the 15th of October to the 12th of November. Join us via Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube as we discuss topics like surviving and thriving through the pandemic, investing in real estate, trade and investment opportunities in Uganda, alternative dispute resolution, business formalization, and inclusive resource mobilization for Uganda's economic independence. Don't miss out.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
The taxpayers' appreciation season is here. We recognize, celebrate, and award Uganda's top taxpayers. Be part of the online Bombaya Business Summits and stand a chance to win smartphones, gift sets, hampers, and loads more. Visit our social media pages to find out more.
We appreciate you for paying your taxes. We're proud to be Ugandan. We celebrate you. Oh, we celebrate you. Taxpayers of Uganda. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream. Tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment, thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Welcome to the Revenue Pulse, a program on URA TV designed to bring you regular updates of URA's revenue collections against the intended target. My name is Noella Anaso, the host of this show from URA's Public and Corporate Affairs. And the update is the current target set by the Ministry of Finance is 22.4 trillion Ugandan shillings. In the last quarter, URA collected 4.4 trillion shillings. The balance is 18 trillion shillings. We will continue to bring you conversations that talk about the initiatives that are being done, that are being undertaken to be able to collect this 18 trillion shillings. And today, we are going to talk about the digital economy, an opportunity for socio-economic transformation. What is the digital economy? For most of you, you might know it as a web economy, an internet economy, or the new economy. However that you know it, well, it's an economy that is based on digital computing technologies. And when we talk about the digital economy, there are things that we can't leave out. We talk about digital infrastructure, and that would mean broadband, that would mean backbone. We also talk about access. How are people, countries able to access this particular infrastructure? When we talk about digital economy, we also talk about entrepreneurship. There's a lot of entrepreneurship going on around this particular topic. What are people doing in line with this? We would also talk about digital skills. How are people all over the country, all over the Uganda, all over the world, all over Africa, skilling themselves to be able to operate this particular technology? We also talk about digital platforms, which I believe most of you are most familiar with. There we talk about social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We'll also talk about knowledge platforms like Yahoo, Google. And we also talk about platforms like YouTube. We talk about Vimeo, things that our people are familiar with. And to deepen this particular conversation, we are honored to be joined by Ismail Ladu, seasoned writer from Daily Monitor. We are also honored to be joined by the Evolution Project Manager from URA, Seti Olugo. And we are also honored to be joined by a regular face on this program, Edward Kaiwa, business writer from New Vision. And our question today, our first question would be, how is this particular technology transforming societies in Uganda, in Africa, around the world? And I will come to you, Ladu. What do you have to say about how technology is transforming societies?
Thank you very much. Although normally I'm at the other end of the side where I'm the one asking the question. It so happened that today I'm the one on the spot, and I can begin to understand how it feels when you are put on the spot. Yes. Now, of course, there's no doubt that we are at an era where we can't do anything about technology except to embrace it. However, it depends from context to context. For our own context here, particularly in Uganda, there is an attempt for us to embrace it. We are not yet there. I don't believe we are even there 20% yet, but the trajectory is not looking as bad as it should, on condition that a few things are put in place. Noella, if you allow me, you may want to know that as we speak right now, the cost of digital inclusion is still quite high. If you exclude people in the urban areas who can afford it, but still not as with the ease that we would want, just 10 kilometers outside Kampala, people are struggling to afford the cost of digital inclusion or transformation. And if that is not addressed, we will continue to be, spectators in this digital economy rather than being players.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Well, I'll come to you, Edward.
Okay. Thank you, Noella. The world over, we are currently in the fourth industrial revolution, which is at best. And the world over, people are really advanced. We have seen countries like the US use big data to do a lot of things. We have seen the rise of robotics, the use of intelligent machines in production. And this thing is going on all over the world, basically the more advanced world. Just a few months back, China came up with 5G technology, and now everybody in the world is racing to acquire 5G. So there are a lot of advancements that are going on right now in the world, and people are using those ones to improve themselves, to drive commerce, for instance, all right, which is called actually the sharing economy, e-commerce. There's a lot of advancement in e-commerce, especially in the developed world. Now, I will agree with my colleague Ladu that here in Uganda, and most of Africa actually, we are still trailing because we haven't really embraced a lot of that digital economy, the use of the digital economy. One of the issues is that infrastructure is really poor. We have very poor infrastructure. That's one of the big issues. But also the other one being that this thing of taxing the digital economy is more inhibitive rather than supportive. Because, like you said then, you find a lot of people cannot afford. And you see, this digital economy is internet-based. Without internet, you don't have it. And if the cost of internet is really high, then people will not afford it, then there will be only spectators rather than participants in that very same economy. Right now, if you ask anybody doing innovation, these app developers and stuff like that, they will tell you one of the biggest challenges is actually the cost of data. They need a lot of data, and data is too expensive. Interestingly, our own government in this current financial year decided to even make it more expensive by slapping another 12% tax on it. I do not know how this is meant to help drive us to a place where we compete with the rest of the world. I do not know, because I need to understand the mind of the framers of this particular policy. Just on the surface, it doesn't really look that good.
So he talked about the level of inclusivity, you talked about a lack of infrastructure or inadequate infrastructure, and then the cost of data. Over to you, Seti. What do you think?
Yes, thank you very much. From my own assessment, I want to first agree with my colleague right over here in terms of how far or where are we really. But for me, I want to appreciate the fact that the digital economy has not spared us anywhere close. So for us, we have been able to look at it from the positive side We are all aware, like in the first lockdown, the great players of Chikubo Online took up the day. We are also aware of people like Zen that took the day, trying to offer financial access. We are also aware of what government is doing, especially at NITAU level. All this, to me, at least we have started the right path, and we are taking it, and from the perspective of transforming the way we want to interact with clients, that's one of the areas that we want to focus very, very much, because we are very much alive to the fact that businesses are actually moving online, and if they're moving online, our olden rudimentary approach of collecting revenue itself is already at stake, because by and large, you know those funny talks that were moved some time back, that interesting things are happening because players like Alibaba do not own stock, but they're busy selling. Players like A&B do not have the accommodation facilities, but they're making the money. Facebook, which doesn't understand, create a content, but other people are the ones creating for themselves, and they're making it big. So it means there's something that ordinary tax administration must also change and embrace. Otherwise, the mode of operation definitely is not going to be the same. So with the advent of digital economy, it's just by and large that we must embrace it and actually change the way we interact with taxpayers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the government of Uganda actually doing something about technology, and how is it encouraging people to embrace the use of technology?
If you look at just that same Vision 2040 document, one of the live opportunities government is saying we should embrace for us to target that vision for 2040 is actually ICT opportunities that are there. You will also notice clearly in terms of the Industrial Revolution strategy for Uganda, fourth Industrial Revolution, the whole document is already there, stated by government. So to me, by and large, unless it is a matter of silencing, but government has a deliberate effort in trying to actually put Uganda up there to run side by side with advents of the digital economy.
Yes, Ladu, our government.
Look, government will always be government. Of course, they are doing something. Personally, I don't think they are doing really much in that regard. For instance, we know that two steps ahead, then 2, 3 backward. Look at the introduction of the tax on bundles. I'm not happy about that, I can tell you for a fact. But it is my government that imposed it. So as I said again, government will always be a government. However, just allow me to say this, that in addition to the cost of the data itself, even the cost of the gadgets to allow us or the population to be part of the digital economy is also still very expensive. Okay, so all these are things that at the end of the day that the government must be able to have a say in it, and my hope is that they will eventually find a way of bringing the cost of all this down, so that everybody is part of that revolution, that if we don't jump into the bandwagon, we risk being left behind, and the consequences are dire, not just for, as individuals, but even the economy of which the government is responsible over.
Okay, and the government is doing something, encouraging more sciences to be taught more in schools. Actually, has been doing this for a long time. What other things is the government trying to do with their strategies, and with the kind of citizenry that we have? Does that apply to our citizenry, the kind of education that our people have? Are they really becoming tech savvy with what the government is doing and its programs? Yes, Edward, what do you think?
Well, I really would agree with everybody here on set that actually government is doing something. The only question is, how much is government doing? Okay. That's probably where the discussion gets interesting. It's obviously doing something, because for starters, we have the right policies in place. Those ones have been drafted. When we talk about the tech regulator, NITAU, they are currently in the last mile project of the infrastructure, laying, infrastructure development. And that is well believed to play a big role in advancing, the use of technology in Uganda. But especially that project is looking at provision of services by the government to the public. Now, we all know that this economy is private sector led. So the most important thing is for the government now to facilitate the private sector to, adapt more this, upcoming technology, or this technology which is already with us, to then drive the economy. Then government can simply come up with policies of how then it can tax, okay? Because the more we have production and productivity, people getting jobs and all that, the more the government then will, earn more revenue. It's even a better way of actually reducing informality, because when people are online, they're easy to track. It's an easier way of dealing with the informality, which right now is more than 80% of the entire economy. So you see, there are quite a number of advantages, but how has government now prepared? You see, the taxes are really a lot. There are things like mobile money, for instance. This was something very good. It would have brought so many people into the financial inclusion, all right? It would have increased things like the velocity of money. That means money moves hands very quickly from you to the other, so everybody has a bit of it. Economic activities, is fast, yes. But you know as well as I do that since taxes were introduced, on mobile money, not that it was bad to introduce taxes, but they're quite high. It slowed down the growth of the mobile money space. The growth was so high, but it somehow reduced, okay? And I think it was premature to introduce such high taxes on mobile money. They would have let it first capture everybody, first let everybody get addicted to it, and then you can introduce those. Yes, the taxes would have been progressive, progressively increased, and not much in a go. So there are some good things that you can really talk about, and then you see that again, the policies in place seem to be reversing the gains that we have made. There is an issue of incubation. We have quite a lot of, private incubation centers. Government has been talking for the last about 6 years, if I may recall very well, that it's going to start incubation centers all over the country. And the only one that I know since that conversation started is the one in Nakawa. I don't know of any other one, all right? So what has been happening? Is government serious? Is it really interested in driving us forward through this fourth industrial revolution? We know that the whole world is heading there, and we cannot be left behind. If we are left behind, already we are more than 100 years of growth and development behind the developed world. Now, if we allow them to leave us another, very serious years, I don't know what will happen to us. We will be technically excluded, all right? So I think the policies need to be, forward-looking. They need to be good, and we really should stop walking 2 steps forward and 3, 4 backwards.
3 steps back. Well, you talked a lot about taxing the digital economy, and our government concentrated on taxing data. Seti, yes, please.
It's not just taxing data.
Yes.
You look at the taxes on laptops, the taxes on mobile phones, the taxes on all these gadgets that can be used to basically facilitate the digital economy.
Yes.
The taxes are really high. That makes them unaffordable. And if they are unaffordable and yet it's the ordinary people that are meant to use them, then it's really hard. There's a time I was talking to one of the Chinese officials in this country, and she told me that the way China did it is they started teaching their children from low grade, like preschool. And they had laptops for those kids, and they trained their children, they changed their syllabus and made sure that by the time someone goes through school, they are as good as anybody who has done ICT anywhere, all right? So they removed taxes on gadgets. They did quite a lot of things that I think we can do. I can't talk about all of them because of time here. But you see that some of the people who have deliberately decided to use that channel to grow, they have been practical. And we keep talking about those things and simply leave it there.
We know that many children, at least in private schools, are learning how to code, how to, how to be part of this particular conversation. But we also know that it's creating a gap, because we're not sure if our brothers and sisters in the UPE or USC schools are learning as much how to code. But back to you, Seti. Taxing the economy. We know that many governments all over the world actually are struggling with the concept of how to tax this particular economy. It's easier perhaps for the countries that are the inventors of the mobile platforms and apps and the digital infrastructure, the US, European countries. But for African countries, how can we fit into this conversation without creating a gap and without, hurting our people? When I talk about the gap, there's an inequality gap. Because when we come to the initiatives, if the government is going to say, going forward, paying of fees will be accessed through the bank. Recently, Makerere University and some of these universities decided to fast-track the examination process, and the students sat digital exams. Sorry, would I call that digital exams? They use digital platforms to sit the exams through mobile phones, through laptops. And guess what? There was a recorded number of students who missed their final exams because they could not access these particular facilities. So the African government setting, when they try to tax like the European countries or the USA, what is missing in our equation?
Well, I would say thank you. But what we can see is it's a culture that is developing. Just like you said, we were not the inventors of some of these applications or the tool or the gadgets or whatever. So it comes onto us as like flying through the ventilators. So it's not a culture that we had. So we are from basically a much manual environment. You look at our laws the way they are. The framers conceptualized very many of the aspects from a manual environment. So the advent of the digital world definitely catches all the people who were the framers at the time unaware of what it should be like. So the arguments is bringing right now, for example, in terms of the value chain of the digital economy, from the gadgets, the data, internet access, the speed, and the likes. All those infrastructure arrangement that's necessary for the digital economy to flourish are coming in the latter years, as opposed to by the time when we developed our taxing regimes. But needless to say, that should not be a problem. All of us definitely need the change management, learning curve, and adaptation to the new environment. So by and large, these things end up going back into conversation of where we should be. It's the trial and error bit that you take, and then you come up with the best alternative. Like when we brought OTT, when we went back to looking at the kind of taking an M&E position, then we took another dive. So the dive again, as you can see, members are saying, is still high. So the point is government definitely is not sitting without doing anything. They're definitely working around the clock to get the most best fit for us to also survive and actually tax, because it is inevitable. People are moving online. Most of you are actually ordering things online here. Yeah, you're moving with at least smart gadgets here. So I mean, government will just have to embrace this, and that is the new culture that is coming. So I'm sure improvements will be there. I know, I for one, I know World Bank is I think contributing over $200 million to increase the speed and access to internet, and then government alone has aligned over 400 billion shillings, again in the same direction for digital transformation. So I don't think you can want to bite one arm and then waste the other side. So they will definitely get a win-win position to enhance this for taxation and for government itself.
Well, with that loan and with all of, who exactly is benefiting? Yes,
you did introduce an aspect of the digital taxation, which is a quite interesting argument across the globe. By the way, even the biggest economies are grappling with how to tax the digital economy. With the big boys like the Facebook, Alibaba, we can mention them making trillions of dollars.
Yes.
In any economy, and they walk scot-free, while me and you, somebody downtown is being chased around to pay their fair share of taxes. But the good and the bad news is that just I think last month or a couple of weeks ago, there's been a global agreement that has been reached. Okay, that if enforced across the globe, we'll see the big boys in the digital economies paying some money, some revenue to where they are present. Whether they don't need to have an office, but they can still pay something. However, the problem with that global tax agreement is that whereas for us as Uganda, our rate is 30%. Okay, the agreement is that the rate has been reduced to 15%. So it's both good and bad news. Good news in the sense that some money will be accrued from these from the big players in the digital space. The bad news is that it's reducing our taxing rate as a country from say 30 to 15%. But anyway, they were not paying anything even before that. Yeah.
Well, so shouldn't it be that instead of them having to pay tax, they would have students that go over there maybe to MIT and learn how to, create our own platforms or build our own infrastructure and come back, because Africa is gifted. Africa is gifted, and if our people, if our countrymen are creators as well, but it's just opportunity to be able to do it. If those opportunities were created, perhaps we'll collect much more. Yes, Edward?
Well, you see, Uganda is a country with people with a very enterprising mind. Even in the digital space, we have very innovative people. We have a lot of creations that come, off the innovation table every other day. We only lack the opportunity to market these innovations and then, compete or maybe walk in the footsteps of the big boys, like he mentioned them, the Alibabas, the Facebook, and to talk about it. You see, this is where now government needs to help, all right? Because one of the reasons why visibility is low is one, ignorance. There is a lot of ignorance. These guys are creative, they innovate these things, but they're not really that innovative when it comes to marketing what they have created. They lack the knowledge of how to do it, and this is largely because of how they are trained. You see, we go through school and we are trained to think only forward and not out of the box. So if someone is trained in IT or an ICT-based course that they've done at university, all they know how to do is to simply innovate in that space and not to think outside of that space. So what now needs to be done is, the way government can help is to create a curriculum that is all round, that is holistic, so that by the time someone comes out the other end, they are able to do quite a lot for themselves. And as they're doing it for themselves, they're also doing it for the country. Because you see, if this platform gains momentum, even just across this Africa region, this is a region of 1.3 billion people, approximately 1.4 billion people. That's a huge number of people. That's a huge market. We're talking about a market of almost $4 trillion. That alone is huge. So if you have an innovation that can be bought just here in Africa, that can influence lives in Africa, there is a lot of gain for the individual, but also for the government. So there is a need to intentionally help the people who are in that space to not only create, but also to create and then market for the benefit of themselves and the country. All right? That is one. The other one I was talking about is these incubation centers, because you see all these things, you can do them from there, but also we can come up with policies that help to, you know, to stimulate the growth of these incubation centers that are both private and public. Like I said earlier, government has only established one of those centers. In the last 6 years, it has been talking about creating them. So if direction, and maybe for the beginning have a few more in the different regional parts of the country, and then we encourage this innovation. We also need to inculcate this culture right from childhood, primary, for instance. Even in public school, these UPE schools, we should have these gadgets in these places so that children learn. Things like coding shouldn't. Okay, these are things that children should learn much earlier, because if children can learn much earlier, there are spaces they can play with. Like, for instance, cartoons. Yeah, you know, these are things that, yes, these are things that can sell the country, not only you know, in people knowing Uganda for creating cartoons, but also tourism. Okay. We can boost our tourism, and quite a lot can come with it. But we need to be more deliberate. We need to look at this thing more holistically. We need to rethink the taxation of this digital economy, both for the benefit of the state and the people, without necessarily, you know, leaving a gap that oppresses one side against the other. Because we know that the state needs taxes to deliver service. Also know that it needs to facilitate its own people to do more, to produce more goods and services, so that more can be taxed. If we have more production of goods and services with lesser tax, then if we have more, the tax is actually much more, a few innovations, then we earn more. I mean, we earn less than when we tax less, encourage, and, you know, create an environment that facilitates growth in that direction.
Productivity and thrive. Okay, one more submission from Ismail, and then we can go for a break.
All right, very quickly. Well, the things my colleague Edward is talking about, it's right, but it can only happen. This is what we call a structural problem, and a structural problem it is only government that can deal with. We cannot continue to depend on individuals or well-wishers across the world to help us enhance our digital progress. Now, internet, we have good, the gadgets are affordable, the speed of the internet is fine. I'm telling you, nobody will tell somebody or anybody to start learning coding. It naturally, one will, you know, because the atmosphere is already conducive enough for you to do many things that you should that you should do given that environment. So the appeal here is that you know, this is a structural problem, and government has a say in making sure it happens.
Thank you so much. When we come back after the break, we are going to look into what URA is doing to facilitate taxpayers within this digital space. Stay tuned.
Appreciation season is here. We recognize, celebrate, and award Uganda's top taxpayers. Be part of the online Bomba Business Summits and stand the chance to win smartphones, gift sets, hampers, and loads more. Visit our social media pages to find out more.
We appreciate you for paying your taxes. We're proud to be Ugandan. We celebrate you. Oh, we celebrate you. Taxpayers of Uganda. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too, watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu. Tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
The third edition of the Bombay Business Summit is here, starting at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every Friday from the 15th of October to the 12th of November. Join us via Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube as we discuss topics like surviving and thriving through the pandemic, investing in real estate, trade and investment opportunities in Uganda, alternative dispute resolution, business formalization, and inclusive resource mobilization for Uganda's economic independence. Don't miss out.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
The Taxpayers Appreciation Season is here. We recognize, celebrate, and award Uganda's top taxpayers. Be part of the online Bombay Business Summits and stand the chance to win smartphones, gift sets, hampers, and loads more. Visit our social media pages to find out more.
We appreciate you for paying your taxes. We're proud to be Ugandan. We celebrate you. Oh, we celebrate you. Taxpayers of Uganda. We appreciate appreciate you.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu. Tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Welcome back, our dear viewers. And we are joined in this session by Linda Namayanja. She is an officer in URA from Information Technology and Innovation Department. And in this segment, we want to discuss what URA is doing. URA is leveraging technology to be able to hit the balance 18 trillion that should be collected in this financial year. Linda, please explain to our taxpayers what URA is doing in its initiatives.
Thank you, Noella. Dear viewers, welcome again to the third edition of our Revenue Pulse. And as she has stated, I'm here to explain to you what is URA doing to leverage technology to be able to encourage and improve the experience of our taxpayers as you comply to tax paying. As you can see on the screen, we are really stepping up the use of our technology in terms of satellite technologies, smart technologies, and also the cargo tracking systems. We also are using non-intrusive inspection technologies, for example, the scanners. In fact, we have so far acquired 27 scanners, and we have 12 more coming up in the future. On the DT side, we have come up with smart business solutions, which are really well known to all of us by now because we have really advertised them on all our social media platforms. And this is a digital tracking solution and the IFRIS, the famous IFRIS. Would like to first of all thank all our taxpayers who have complied and already on board using these technologies and solutions. These two have enabled us to be able to track goods which are counterfeit in the market. Also, to you taxpayers, you're able to record to keep your records better, know where your receipts are, track your goods, and be able to comply better to tax paying. We continue to automate and integrate key business processes to simplify your experience and to also seal any revenue leakages within the system. And some of these include the auto-conversion of customs declaration forms that has helped us to curb a very big deal of dumping. Dumping is whereby the exporting country imports a good or product at a lower price than the importing market. And this has led to a lot of revenue loss. So us doing this has enabled us to be able to curb that revenue loss. Two, we have been able to introduce the electronic single window platform. Taxpayers, you're able to acquire and access all the government agencies on one platform. So you do not move so many places, but you're able to get all the services in one place. How convenient. Two, the government is also coming up to roll out the management of warehousing. And this is going to help you, taxpayer, to be able to track the movement of your goods through your warehouse at a faster rate and therefore promoting efficiency. Also, the government is coming up with a debt management system that's going to help to finance the needs and payment obligations of the government at a very low cost. Finally, URA is revamping the contact 772-14-000. So reach out to us, send us a message, have an inquiry, give us feedback on the services. Two, you're able to also reach us through the web portal using the web chat. So reach out to us as well there. Then also, you're able to use the Ask URA app, whereby you can be able to reach us, give us feedback, ask questions, and we shall be able to get to you and give you all the information that you need. Then finally, we have the self-help services. You're able to, did you know that you're able to be able to unlock and reset your TIN account and password respectively? You do not have to come physically to URA, but you can do this on the web portal. You're able to track the payment of your taxes. You're able to know how can you get your tax clearing certificates easily, and also to track your TIN registration status. And on the customs side, you're able to use your entry details to be able to know how far with your customs entry. You're able to use the payee calculator to be able to know how much you're able to remit to URA. And then also the Ask URA app, as I mentioned earlier. So with all these technologies that we are trying to leverage and improve on our services, we're encouraging you taxpayers to please get on board. And as URA, we pledge to support you to be able to collaborate together and develop Uganda together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Linda. Quite elaborate and articulate. Thank you so much. And over to you, Seti. Who is URA targeting with these initiatives, and are they effective?
Thank you, Linda, for that highlight. Ideally, the URA direction, as you must have been aware by now, is a transformational revenue service aiming at mobilizing national revenue for development in a more transparent and efficient manner. So by and large, this is targeting the client for voluntary compliance. So you will see that all this being done is to actually help the taxpayer transact or interact with URA from the comforts of their preferred place. For example, those service help tools that you have seen a pay calculator, for example, is really for you to get informed without having to come to URA. So the target is really enhancing voluntary compliance, and by making it much more efficient and rendering a better client experience. So the person that we are focusing on with all these ideas of URA is really the taxpayer at the end of the day.
Okay. Ismail, what do you think? Are these effective? Is the common man able to benefit from this, or it's just a step in the right direction?
Oh, well, both a step in the right direction, and I really I want it to work, because if it works, everybody is a winner in this. But and I'm going to be very brief. When I was trying to get my TIN tax identification number, I had to hire somebody to do it for me.
Okay.
Because it was laborious, tiresome, and for lack of better word, annoying. I didn't have that time to, to sit there, and it was digitally done.
But there was this long Excel
Absolutely,
sheets
there was all these, and in fact, if I had just driven to the nearest URA office, I could have probably had it done and sorted. So, as a taxpayer, these are the things, we hate, we don't want. We want the service to be as seamless and as flawless and simple as possible. This is why I'm saying these are a step towards the right direction, and I hope it works. But also allow me to say this, that at the end of the day, it is about people, okay? It is people who are behind those machines, and it is people who manage them, okay? If you don't have people who are still efficient in doing their work, then we are not solving any problem. Can you imagine calling the call center, okay? And probably nobody is there to pick it. And if there is nobody there to pick it, you still lodge your complaint, but nobody is thereafter who takes it, who takes it up. So it's just at the end of the day, it's about the people behind this revolution we are talking about. Then lastly, if you do a survey, for instance, of the slightly more than 2,000 employees that URA have, how many people do appreciate the fact that, one, we need to raise between 17 to 18 trillion by close of the financial year? How many people really appreciate and think that's important? How many people realize that in the just ended quarter, URA made a loss of nearly $500 billion shillings? Lose sleep over that as revenue officials. The digital revolution will work. Otherwise, it will just, it will just be something to play around with, and people will be walking around, and their claim to fame is that I work with URA, and that's it. And I don't think that's where we should be headed.
Okay. Edward, sufficient enough to bring the 18 trillion, or should URA just be working with other stakeholders to be able to see these initiatives come to life?
Well, I personally think that the initiative in place are enough for URA to hit the target. I believe it's a step in the right direction, but I also believe that even more can actually be done. For instance, the non-intrusive scanners. This target that was set by Ministry of Finance at the onset of the year did not factor in the fact that URA will be getting 27 scanners within the same financial year. So that means that there is a lot of redemption that URA can do, and therefore rise above and beyond the target that is set for it. I believe it is very possible. It simply depends on, like Ismail said, the people behind these machines. Because, true, at the end of the day, it's about people. It's people who man these machines. It's people who, facilitate these very, yes, these machines and all the other things that you're trying to do to collect the 18 trillion before the financial year closes. It's just all about the people. But I also think that the taxman needs a little more facilitation from the government, because what they are getting is actually not enough. URA has slightly over 2,000 staff, and I believe that's not enough, because we have so many border posts, entry points where URA needs to be manning those border posts much better, but also internally. There's quite a lot that URA needs to do, and it needs manpower, human resources. Well, the other day I overheard the Commissioner General saying that government has facilitated that. There's a budget for it, and already a number of employees have been brought on board. I do not know how much the deficit is right now, but I'm almost sure that there's still a deficit. URA can actually do much more. Earlier on I was Airtel telecom space. Does government really know URA? Does URA really know how many calls are made in a day and how long they last, and therefore how much they cost? Does it know how many people buy these data bundles, and how much those data bundles cost? Because then it will use that information to aggregate what? The tax levy, okay, to assess tax. But you see, it's the telecom service provider who then has to tell us that, you see, in this financial year, I did these many transactions, they were worth this, and therefore my tax based on those transactions are these. We can't go forward just believing what they say. These are businessmen. They are profit-oriented. They will tell lies in order to make more technology, because we are talking about technology. We need to have the technology to track the actual transactions that they are making, so that we get the actual country. All right? It's not only in that space. There are quite a number of places where we are losing tax because, one, URA cannot access the facts, scientific facts of transactions in that space, and therefore do the right assessments in that space. But you see, the URA budget is approved by government through Parliament and the Ministry of Finance. So this is where now there is need for drumming support, so that the URA budget is increased, because it needs to leverage technology more going forward, because the world is shifting to the digital platform. Everything is now shifting to the digital platform. If you ask anybody within the East Africa region, they'll tell you the biggest headache for the taxman is taxing the digital space. Of course, it's all over the world, but there is more headache here, right here. There's more headache, all right? I do not think that of all taxes that are collected, even 10% is derived from the digital platform, all right? And yet a lot is happening in that digital space. But then how will URA be able now to hit its targets every time they are set? How will we be able to avert situations where we are embarrassed as we beg, as we beg foreign funders, okay? And yet we have everything here that we can use to actually avoid such situations. That will say that Africa is very blessed, and I believe so. And I believe that Uganda is actually more blessed than all the other African countries.
That's true.
All right? So if Uganda is more blessed than all the other African countries, then why do we continually want to be in a situation where we are embarrassed and we just keep going for it? So the initiatives, they're in the right direction. And I believe the 18 trillion can be achieved. But also more can be done. Then lastly, just to emphasize what he said, it's the people. It's the people. The people need to love what they do. They need to love their country. They need to understand why they're collecting tax, because tax collection is a noble profession. Jesus came for the taxpayers. And that tells you the importance of this tax thing, that someone divine had to come for these taxpayers and the tax collectors, of course, all of them together. So it is important how we facilitate for the country to get out of the debt trap we're in, because debt to GDP is now 48. By 2023, it is estimated to be hitting around 55, and that will be really too much for us. We'll be now headed to a bad place if we don't get oil flowing very soon. So the point is, right now, yes, we can achieve that, but we can even do much more.
Much
We
more.
have the potential to finance even 70-80% of our budget if we can only do a few things and put them right.
Thank you so much. Edward Seti, I saw you burning with something.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
To my colleagues, I really made sure they said some of those words themselves.
Yes.
And so
yes.
I'm very happy about it. Words such as URA needs to be supported, URA needs to have visibility into the transactions. It's only that they mentioned the mobile network operators as the key, but including even banks which are foreign owned here, we really need to have that visibility into their transactions. So by and large, I would say, like one of the tools that we have, EFRIS, it was maybe underscored, but EFRIS, people who are refusing system-to-system integration, definitely that's a quack guy. So me, I'll leave it to my colleagues here. Let them try and actually put it outside there to the members of the public. Maybe do more research and write about it. Who are those who don't want to go on system-to-system automation? That's when we shall actually be able to know, because government at least has put an effort to trying to know those issues, like how many calls are made, what transaction, by using, for example, the EFRIS tool. So somebody who denies that, especially for system-to-system automation, yet they're already in a digital space, that person needs to be seen with some degree of skepticism. So for me, I would say, I thank them, and they mentioned it, so let them pursue it and tell to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Seti. Before we come to our parting shots, yes, the enforcement of IFRIS is going on, and we don't want to use a strong word as enforcement, because URA is a business enabler and has gone to lengths within the last 2 years to ensure that the different taxpayers that should be onboarded onto IFRIS are trained and taught how to use the system. And so in this time, URA appeals to all our countrymen that own supermarkets, that own any such businesses that pay VAT or local excise duty, to please integrate your system and pay the right tax. The taxpayer appreciation season is also here and running until December. And in this time, URA is appreciating all medium, large, and small taxpayers. So listen in and be part of the conversation, especially through the activities that have been planned. This Friday, URA will host the Your Business Summit this Friday, and it will be played on most of the TV stations, and especially on URA's social media platforms, YouTube. So please tune in and listen and have something that you can learn. Yes, on to our parting shots. I'll start with you, Ismail.
All right. I'll make it very short. Of course, I am in a privileged position whereby I am able to ask URA, including the Commissioner General, any question pertaining to. Sometimes some of those questions could be very hard. Sometimes they may be uncomfortable. Sometimes they may be annoying. But, that's the position in which myself and my colleague here are in, and many others. And we will continue to hold URA accountable, and we'll continue to follow and see how far they've gone with enforcing and implementation of the things we are talking about here, and the things that I think Linda outlined.
Can we really get ready? Can we hasten the infrastructure? Can we prepare people to have these gadgets? Can we prepare the students to innovate? Can we prepare those who are in the tech space to even innovate further? Can we integrate this whole thing where we have people in business and people, so that it is one system, we work as a system? We missed the other industrial revolutions. Okay? We missed all of them. But should we also miss the fourth one? And yet all it takes is for us to simply get ready, invest a little bit of money in that direction, and get these things done. We are not far behind the likes of China and the US and the UK. We are not so far behind. We can catch up and even overtake them, because you see, in the things of technology, you can leapfrog. So we can leapfrog this thing. We can influence things in the world if we want to, and if we prepare to do that. Last one, URA. My appeal to the Minister of Finance, Mzee Kasaija, please inject more money. And to members of parliament, inject more money in URA, because URA is the bedrock of the nation, of the economy and everything. So if the bedrock is shaky, just imagine what kind of a nation we shall have. We'll never stop begging if we don't do that.
Thank you, Edward. And on to you, Seti, your parting shots.
Oh, I really love your parting shots. They are very marvelous to my ears. Yeah, I don't know even whether I should even say any other. But needless to say, my parting shot is that the digital economy has truly come. It has come to stay. We are just to embrace ourselves and fit into it. Clearly, it's going to be the culture and the way forward. So, me, what I can say is that URA is actually, maybe for the benefit of my colleagues here, URA is actually deliberately trying to optimize those solutions that you have seen mentioned, especially EFRIS, be it the NIIUC. So we are targeting actually optimizing it. That's why we have a project called Project Evolution. We are actually going to change some of these, the ways we interact fundamentally. And that is really aimed at trying to position URA as a trusted business partner, because it is picked from the agenda of mobilizing revenue in a transparent and efficient manner. So yes, I just wanted to let people know that URA actually is ready, especially when the support, as you mentioned, keeps on coming. It shall be massive. And surely we are positioning to liberate Uganda from this economic dependency, as you have been mentioning. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear panelists, for your wonderful, very insightful submissions this morning. There you have it, our dear taxpayers and the general public. The digital space, the digital economy is still young, rich, and a place that everyone can invest in, grow by, and our economy can benefit from the digital economy. Our government should do what it ought to do. Our people should do everything, both the private sector and the government sector, to ensure that our people are taught how to use these different platforms, are taught about the digital economy, because eventually it's working hand. GDP is high, and of course the GDP will be higher. We have a target, a reminder of 18 trillion to go towards the end of this financial year, and we will keep it here at the Revenue Pulse, reminding you of our targets and how much has been collected. For this morning, thank you for tuning in. God bless you.
Capo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA a visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa business solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Capo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
The Taxpayers Appreciation Season is here! We recognize, celebrate, and award Uganda's top taxpayers. Be part of the online Bombaya Business Summits and stand a chance to win smartphones, gift sets, hampers, and loads more. Visit our social media pages to find out more.
We appreciate you for paying your taxes. We're proud to be Ugandan. We celebrate you. Oh, we celebrate you. Taxpayers of Uganda. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.